The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
The Attitude Era is widely considered by many as the greatest product the WWE has ever had. Now, relive the entire journey with exclusive commentary, insights, and episodic discussion with head writer Vince Russo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special edition of Raw, what it was good for, because today we're not going to be looking at Raw. We're going to be looking at WrestleMania 14. So it is going to be a very special edition of the show. Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I got my Bills water. I am ready to go.
Very nice, bro. Very nice. Let's talk about WrestleMania 14.
So we start off with a 15-team tag team battle royal. The winner of this will get a title shot at the next pay-per-view, which is Unforgiven, I believe. So the teams are Farouk and Kama, the New Midnight Express, the Godwins, D'Lo and Mark Henry, Rock and Roll Express, Headbangers, the DOA, the Quebecers, Sniper and Recon. There was two teams from the Los Boricuas, Steve Blackman and Flash Funk, Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor, and Bradshaw and Chains. And then the final team comes out, and it's the LOD making their return with Sonny as their manager. There's a few notable things that happen in the match. Jackal brings out Kurgan to eliminate Recon and Sniper after the events with them that's happened on Raw. Barry Windham runs in and throws out Chains so that Bradshaw gets eliminated. And then we're down to the LOD and the New Midnight Express as the final two teams.
And, bro, all that stuff right there, Jeff, is even on the pay-per-view we're maintaining angles. They don't even maintain angles on Raw now. We were maintaining angles on a pay-per-view. So, like, if Raw was must-see TV, so was the pay-per-view. They don't even maintain angles on Raw anymore. But I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and, that's one reason why we decided to do pay-per-views coming up is because, I just remember so much story in these pay-per-views. If you missed the pay-per-view, you missed something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You even see that starting in this pay-per-view. So we're down to the LOD and the New Midnight Express. The Godwins run back in after they were eliminated, and they hit LOD with their slot buckets. But LOD recovers, and they end up eliminating both of the Midnight Express at the same time to get the win. So the new Legion of Doom with Sonny, they will be getting a tag team title shot at the next pay-per-view.
When you look at that crowd, I think LOD was over with Sonny. I think people liked it. If you've been following this show for the last couple of weeks, it's been painfully obvious we've had nothing for Sonny. She's been a ring announcer, nothing. And we're trying to get TNA on the show. There's no question about that. We've got nothing for her. So, we thought, we'd kind of repackage LOD a little bit, give them a different look, and put a new spin on them and put Sonny with them. Now, I'm going to tell you this, bro. LOD was not happy about this. They never liked it. And I don't blame them. I don't. And, bro, looking back now, let me just point this out, too, before I say it. Everybody always says, Vince Russo always puts over the good things and never admits any mistakes. We've heard that a million times. Let me say, so that's why I'm prefacing it, because let me say now, when I look at that now, even though I understand why we did it, in hindsight, it was probably not a good idea. And I understand why LOD didn't like it. I totally get it. I know why we did it. But even with that being said, I don't think that was a good idea. If I could do that over again, I would not have tied her, to them. So I just wanted to say that about that match. I want to let me take the next one, bro, because there was some really interesting things said. Now, keep in mind, Jeff, this is 1998. If my math is correct, about 17 years ago. Okay, this is Taka Michinoku against Aguayo. How do you say it?
Aguila. I think it was Aguila. Yeah.
Aguila. Okay, bro. Listen to two of these JR lines, and then again, think of wrestling today, and look at wrestling 17 years ago. This is why I say it's a different product. If you want to give it another name, maybe I'll accept it, but I don't accept today as professional wrestling. Okay. These are the two things JR said, which blew my mind. You miss one of these high-risk maneuvers, and you're done. All right, bro? Like, in other words, at that time, when wrestling was at its peak, there were no high-risk maneuvers. Let's change all that, though. Okay. Then, bro, here's the next thing he said, which I love. It's feast or famine with it's feast or famine with those moonsaults, bro. How many years have moonsaults been outdated now? And JR saying it's feast or famine with that. You know, you hit one of those, you win the match. You miss one of those, you lose the match. That was the significance of a moonsault. Fast forward 17 years later, and don't sit there and tell me this is not a completely different product.
To me, like, this light heavyweight deal was just weird. And I know it ended up phasing out. And we had talked about how, you had said, like, Vince or somebody wanted to compete with the cruiserweights or whatever that was going on Nitro. Like, how do you write this, like, knowing you really don't have anybody for this division? Like, is it like, just give me a guy to put in this match with this guy? Or,
bro, there's one match like this on the card, and it's a spot fest. For people who like that, here it is. The problem is that has turned into a 3-hour show. Okay? I mean, when it was, bro, and keep in mind, bro, talking about Nitro, usually, bro, the cruiserweight match would open the show. A lot of times that's how they open the show. Bro, the formula, at TNA even was open the show with an X division match. High spots, no psychology. It doesn't matter, just to get the people up. That was always, so you'd give them one. For people that like that, here it is. Somehow, some way, that's turned into, the 3-hour show that nobody is watching, which tells me the philosophy at the time was right. There are people that like this. Give them one match. There are people that like the women. Give them a women's match. But the majority of the show has to be what the masses like, and that's professional wrestling. One of the things that just caught me at the end, it was just great, bro, to hear the Howard Finkel ringing out. To hear Howard Finkel was just great to me. It's just great. Bro, we never talk about ring announces, other than Lillian Garcia's hot. That's the extent of it.
For 49 years old, too.
49 years old. But here was a legitimate ring announcer, and I'm so happy Finkel's in the Hall of Fame. That absolutely made his life when they put him in the Hall of Fame. But this was a ring announcer. There hasn't been another like Howard Finkel since.
So what did you think of Jennifer Flowers with The Rock?
Bro, I got to be honest with you. Like, this thing was 3 hours long. And I'm like, I'm not gonna make it through. So like, I fast forwarded a lot, bro. That was one of the things I fast forwarded right through. So please tell me what happened.
Like, I just loved, like, to hear the, like, with this. Okay, we're gonna have Jennifer Flowers on the show. Great, let's put her with The Rock. You know what I mean? Like, right. It's just like that type of stuff. I loved. Like, you know what I mean? So next is Triple H versus Owen Hart for the European Championship. We got the live DX band playing the intro music, and this is the stipulation: as Chyna is handcuffed to Commissioner Slaughter at ringside. During the match, Chyna throws powder in Slaughter's face, which allows her to get up on the apron and give a low blow to Owen Hart, allowing Triple H to hit the pedigree and get the win and retain the championship. And then after the match, the ref uncuffs Chyna and she kicks the crap out of Slaughter.
Yeah, Jeff, the thing that stood out on me here was Chyna this is probably the least amount of clothing that she wore ever. So like you really got a good look at her body. And bro, I am not saying this by in with any sexual connotations whatsoever. That's not where I'm going. But looking at her freaking body, bro, like that was a work of art, bro. You know how like you see these statues, you know, Michelangelo and these guys. I mean, it was a piece of art. Her freaking body, bro, and the shape that she was in, like, just, bro. I don't listen. I'm not going to question whether, you know, China was on the juice, whether China wasn't on juice. It doesn't matter whether you're on the juice or not. Do you still know how many hours in the gym you have to put into yourself to make your body look like that? Do you know how many sacrifices you have to make in a strict diet that you could never go off? The amount of work and dedication that goes into having that kind of a physique is something that very, very, very few people can do. And I was just, you know, looking at her and I'm like, oh my God, like, bro, there will never, ever, 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 ever be another woman like her. There just won't. Not in wrestling. There just absolutely won't.
I don't know if you remember specifically, but I was just curious on this. Like next week's show that we'll cover, the Raw the following night, was a huge Raw in the history of the Monday Night Wars. X-Pac debuts. I don't even think they were calling him X-Pac at the time. They called him the Kid or whatever. But Sean Waltman comes back the following night. The new DX is formed. Now, was all that – did you already have all that – sorry, I hit my mic. Is that all written at this point following a WrestleMania? You already have the Raw written. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like you already know what's going on the following night.
Definitely, yeah. As a matter of fact, bro, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Our focus is on Raw. Because, like, we know it's WrestleMania, but I'm being totally honest here, bro. A WrestleMania was no different than any other pay-per-view. You know, people think, oh, my God, WrestleMania. It was just another pay-per-view. So the pay-per-views basically maintain themselves because all the emphasis was on the match. There wasn't many things for a writer or a producer to do. This is where, okay, we're paying to see wrestling. If we don't like wrestling, we're not paying to see it. So the emphasis, we're thinking about Monday night. I mean, that's what we're thinking about. This is another Raw. This is another television show, not a pay-per-view. So our focus is really on the Raw after, and WrestleMania will run itself, you know, basically. And a lot of people find that hard to believe. That was the absolute truth. I don't know how it is today.
But I mean, I've said this numerous times, and people are probably sick of hearing it. But you know, that's why these 3-hour wrestling shows work, is because of the story development the 4 prior weeks on Raw. People will sit there for 3 hours and be bought into a full wrestling show because they care about who's going to win or lose. That's when these 3-hour long, top to bottom wrestling cards work. You know, and I don't know if people don't understand that if Raw went back to the storytelling process, you're still going to get those 3-hour wrestling shows every month anyway. You're not losing that. But the problem or the bonus would be more people want to watch it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So next is Mark Merrow and Sable versus Luna and Goldust in the mixed tag. And the mixed tag rules are guy, girl. So if there's a tag, the other person has to tag in as well. I laughed, dude. I laughed at Goldust bumping for Sable. I don't know. Like I just thought it was freaking hilarious, man.
No, bro, that one of my notes here is, you know, bro, listen, as over as Sable was, and you, bro, if anybody wants to argue that Sable wasn't arguably the most over woman in the history of WWE, watch this match. I mean, that's all I can listen to the people popping on the freaking false finishes in this match. But with that being said, I definitely wanted to point out how Merrow, Goldust, and Luna absolutely made her. No doubt about it, bro. This tells you the pros that they were. Bro, especially somebody like Luna. Because I told you, bro, this was a changing of the guard. And Luna hated the direction it was going in, and she made it known. If it was up to Luna, she literally would have ripped out Sable and Sonny's hearts and ate them in front of them. That's what Luna would have done. But when it came down to doing business, she freaking made Sable look like $1 million. That's just a true professional. And even, bro, the littlest thing was, even when the match is over and they go into the back and you see Mero saying, I did it. That's all, bro. Bro, the match is over. Pay attention to this, people, please. And please tell me when you see this today. The match is over. He's still getting the story over, bro. The match is over. It's done. And he's still getting the story over.
The pop when Sable powerbombed Luna was crazy. If no one watched the show, go listen to that pop. It was crazy. Like if I see something today on wrestling, I don't know why I'm thinking differently. Maybe you can help explain this. But as unrealistic as it was, Sable beating on Goldust, that didn't even cross my mind. Like, I thought it was hilarious.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, it didn't. I'm not like, this looks unrealistic, this looks fake. But I'm always noticing that stuff today. Why do you think that is? Like, do you have any idea? Like, because I honestly, I don't know. I feel like a hypocrite sometimes when I see stuff that, but I don't get the impression. To me, I didn't watch that and think this looks fake. I thought it was hilarious.
Well, bro, I'll tell you exactly why. Let's break down this match, bro. Bro, this is what's lost today. Okay, and I'm tired of preaching this. Watch what I watch and have an open mind. Okay, bro. You look at the divas in the WWE, and I don't want to call them divas because I guess it's an insult now when you call Charlotte and these girls and everything divas. Okay, what's the first thing they do, bro? And Sasha Banks is number one guilty of this, how great she is. What's the first thing they do, bro? They come out on the stage, they stop, and they hit a beauty shot. Okay?
That's about their entrance?
Their entrance. They hit a beauty shot. Forget about the match that they're in. Forget about that. They hit the beauty shot. Okay. Bro, here's why you believed it. Did you see the intensity Sable had walking to the ring? Whether you knew this was a work, you knew this was fake, regardless of watching her walk to the ring, she made you believe I will walk through a brick wall to kill somebody. Right off the bat. And bro, keep in mind, this was her first match, bro. This isn't somebody that had 15 years of training or 10 years of training or went through a performance center or paid their dues. This was her first match. Look at the intensity of her walking to the ring. So immediately you're like, holy shit, she means business. That's immediately the feeling. She's not. That's a big difference, bro. And here's the thing, bro. She carried on the intensity throughout the entire match. And that's why it was believable, bro. And bro, put yourself in her spot now. I tell you, so many times today, bro, they're so wrapped up in remembering the spots, that the first thing that goes out the window is the character. They forget who the character is. That's the problem. Bro, put yourself in her shoes. Her first match, she's never had a match before. She's in there with 3 other professionals. Her first concern, bro, because I'm going to tell you, because I've been there, the first thing on her mind is, I don't want to make them look bad. That's because, bro, when I was in there with Flair and all that stuff, I did not care about Vince Russo. I did not want to make him look bad. So that's what she's thinking about. I don't want to make them look bad. You know, this is my first match. You can imagine it's a WrestleMania. Bro, who has their first match at WrestleMania? So you can imagine how nervous this girl is, right, bro? But she never lost the character throughout the entire match. That's why when she hit Goldust, you believed, oh my God, she just knocked him flat on his backside. There are a couple of other memorable things in here I just want to, point out is, I just love when she started cleaning house and, JR said Sable is a wildcat. And then Mero hit like an uppercut off the ropes. And JR said real quickly in passing, shades of old wrestling number 2. And I'm thinking about that. Like, how many people today would like even have, bro, I wasn't around when Wrestling 2 was around, but I know who Wrestling 2 is. So like, how many people today like would even have a clue to what he's talking about? And then I said, bro, God, people were so into it, and them popping on the false finishes. First time you ever saw, bro, but think about this. This is the first time she ever did the Sable Bomb. Then she did that, TKO. Bro, those are 2 big moves that she had to learn and deliver for the first time on a freaking WrestleMania. I don't care what people say. You can't you cannot give her enough credit for this performance. But like I said, Mero, Luna, and Goldust, what professionals through and through, bro.
Next, Tennessee Lee comes to the ring, and he introduces Jeff Jarrett and Jennifer Flowers, and they come out arm in arm. Flowers is the ring announcer for Rock versus Ken Shamrock, which is the next match for the Intercontinental title. And the stipulation that was announced on Raw is if The Rock is DQ'd, he will lose the belt to Shamrock. So during the match, there's a spot where Shamrock shoves the ref down, and The Rock plasters Shamrock with a chair so the ref doesn't see it because he was knocked out, but Shamrock kicks out. The match ends up finishing. Shamrock gets the ankle lock on The Rock, and The Rock taps out. At this point, the Nation runs in the ring, and Shamrock goes nuts and takes out Kama, and he takes out D'Lo. Then he puts the ankle lock back on The Rock. At this point, Mark Henry comes in, and he gets a suplex. Then Shamrock goes back and puts the ankle lock on The Rock again. Farouk comes in, and I think he flipped off The Rock, and then he walks off. So Shamrock snaps, he refuses to let go of the ankle lock. And then these referees come in like that you've never seen referee before. These jacked referees come in. So they try to get Shamrock off. Shamrock destroys them. Then the real referees come in. The Rock is taken out on a stretcher, and the referee reverses the decision because Shamrock refused to break the ankle lock when he told him to. So The Rock ends up keeping the Intercontinental title, and he is the winner. So Shamrock, this even enrages him further. And as The Rock's being stretched out, rolled out on the stretcher, Shamrock goes after The Rock and kicks his ass on the stage where the DX band was. So thoughts on that match?
Well, first of all, bro, how many chair shots is Shamrock going to take like that? Like, are you nuts? I mean, bro, literally, we've been watching this story. Was this like the third,
It's at least the third that I could think of, because there was the one when he was in by the turnbuckle. There was the one where he begged him to hit him, and then there was this one.
Yeah, and bro, it's like, again, continuing the storytelling with Farouk, even though it's WrestleMania, like not even just a pay-per-view, it's WrestleMania. I can't believe I forgot this. I can't believe we reversed the decision at a WrestleMania. That will never happen in mine and your lifetime. Bro, can you imagine The Rock and Shamrock going out here and having a spot fest? The Rock and Shamrock wanted to kill each other, and especially Shamrock wanted to kill The Rock. And again, the fight, it was the fight. That's what came across. Not, okay, your turn, my turn. I kick out, now it's my turn. You kick out, now it's your turn. This was a fight, bro. And again, with the intensity that Shamrock was showing, what is it, bro? The suspension of disbelief?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, it's there. They make it happen. It's a lost art, bro. But I don't even want to. I don't even want to harp on that anymore. Yeah, the dumpster match, bro. Go ahead. I just love with the dumpster match when freaking Lawler says you don't need a crazy man driving a forklift. I popped huge. But go ahead with the dumpster match, bro.
So it's the New Age Outlaws defending the tag belts against Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie, and the stipulation is to win, you have to put your opponents into the dumpster and close the lid, and there's one ringside. So the match goes on. It's a pretty good fight. Cactus takes a nasty tumble off onto the dumpster. But we end up backstage, and Cactus Jack puts both of the Outlaws on a pallet that's on a forklift. So Terry Funk's driving the forklift, raises it up, and dumps them. Oh, man, I don't remember that. I remember that it finished backstage, but I totally did not remember that forklift spot. So I popped like it was my first time seeing it. It was hilarious. So he dumps them into the dumpster and then holds the lid shut also with the forklift. So they announced that Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie are the new tag team champions.
But, bro, just the beauty of, like, Mick and Terry, laid out, 90% of this match. And I mean, bro, that's the beauty of this match. Like, when they're laying it out, it's absolutely carte blanche. And they know these are two great veterans that, did what they did, knowing, literally as artists, they could go out there and have the freedom, to come up with these spots that, like, you just never saw before. That's really for me what the joy was, knowing that this stuff came from their heads. They wanted to do a lot of stuff that people didn't see before. Two of the greatest minds in wrestling that weren't afraid to, take chances, and, two good heels that knew how to take an ass whipping and knew how to bump like fools. This was a story that played out for a long time, but I think it had a real good payoff to it, and it was an enjoyable match.
You talked earlier in this show about writing for Raw, you know what I mean? And so, like, I don't know if you remember, like, and I think I'm remembering this correctly, but on the next night, this decision gets reversed because it wasn't the ringside dumpster. And then there's a rematch for the belts the next night on Raw, which is the main event. So at this point, like, are you thinking that that's why we had this finish? So we have somewhere to go with it tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Yep.
So at this point, Howard Finkel introduces Pete Rose. It's freaking hilarious, man. I don't know if you saw this. Like, was this normal at the time? They showed a shot. Like, you see Stephanie and Linda sitting in the, like, cheap seats, like, with the fans. Did they do that a lot? Like, obviously, probably nobody knew who they were at that point in time.
No, bro, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know why they would do that then. I'm surprised, Vince let that go. I'm real surprised. So no, I think that was something out of the ordinary.
So Rose says just starts going off on Boston, makes fun of them not being World Series, says he left tickets for Bill Buckner, but he couldn't bend over to pick him up. Man, that's freaking hilarious. Like, you want to talk like cheap. This is why I love Cheap Heat, because it's so funny, man.
Right.
Like, so then Kane and Paul Bearer come out, and Kane tombstones Pete Rose, and the crowd goes absolutely insane. And Pete Rose is hauled out on a stretcher. Like, before I get your thoughts on this, like, this is what's weighing in my mind the entire time. You're looking at Pete Rose, arguably, one of the greatest hitters, maybe the greatest hitter of all time in baseball. Okay, a legit athlete, a legit, like, superstar, selling this, not even moving, looking like he's crippled, rolling out on a stretcher. Okay, this is Pete Rose, and then you have this punk-ass Machine Gun Kelly getting power bombed off the stage, and he's getting up and walking out. You know what I mean? That just, bro. This is Pete Rose, man. You know what I mean?
It's the difference, and we talk about it all the time, Jeff. It's the difference between pros and amateurs. Pete Rose is a performer. I mean, he performed on the baseball field. That's what he does. So when he's in front of that many people and he's working with other, professionals, he understands what he has to do. You think Pete Rose is worried about getting himself over? Pete Rose wants his check. That's all Pete Rose wants. He wants his check. I will do whatever you want me to do for my check. But again, he's a professional. He sees the crowd. He gets it. These guys are professional in their field. A guy like this idiot was just trying to make a name for himself and trying to get himself over. I mean, like, but again, why put a guy like that on the show? You know what I'm saying, bro? But yeah, bro, I just love the fact that Pete Rose would do anything, but like you had to pay him more. The more you paid him, the more he did, which I loved. And bro, I had to pop huge because I go to the convention this weekend, and who's freaking sitting there signing autographs? Pete Rose. And all wrestlers, bro, and Pete Rose.
That's awesome, man. Now, is there before we get into the actual match, is there anything specifically you remember about this in-ring with Pete Rose as far as like Kane having, what was his thoughts, tombstoning a legend that's never been a wrestler? Do you remember the creative process going into this? Because to me, like, I just think this is,
bro.
I loved it, man. I thought it back then. I thought it was great, and I still think it's.
Jeff, a lot of times, like, I'm not even going to say a lot of times, all the time, when there were athletes involved, they were one of the boys. All the time with the athletes. Bro, you never had to talk an athlete into doing anything. A lot of times their concern was, what's the most we can get away with because of, in insurance and all that crap. I remember once when I was working for TNA, you might remember this, Jeff. One of the star players, the star on the Jets did an angle with Kurt Angle. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't think I was watching TNA then. I don't think that's when I had cable.
Yeah, it was like a standout guy. I can't even remember his name, but like, literally like what they're worried about is how much can we do without getting a slap on the wrist from our team. Like that's what they're concerned about. They become one of the guys. Now, when it was a celebrity, an actor, an actress, or something like that, man, a lot of times, bro, you had to talk them into stuff. I mean, it was a big, big negotiation. But with an athlete, bro, they did as much as they possibly could do without getting in trouble with their team. That was always the mindset.
So do you remember, like, is this like Pete just let him say whatever he wants to say about Boston, or it was like it specifically, we want you to insult Boston, so there's a huge pop?
Oh, no, bro. A lot of that was given to him. A lot of that was definitely given to him. A lot of the verbiage was always written for the, for the athletes. I mean, because they, again, then they're not actors, they're athletes. So a lot of that stuff was written for them.
So we have the actual match, and Kane hits a tombstone on the Undertaker. Undertaker kicks out. Undertaker hits a tombstone on Kane, and he kicks out, and JR puts over that he's the first person to kick out of a tombstone. It happens again. Kane kicks out of the second tombstone, and it takes a third tombstone for Undertaker to pin him, and I like how he hooked the leg for the final one instead of doing, Kane kicked out twice when he did his fold his arms on the chest. So to get him the third time, Undertaker actually hooked the leg. I thought that was interesting psychology. Afterwards, I laughed so hard. Paul Bearer hits the ring, starts putting the boots to the Undertaker. Like, dude, this guy's phenomenal, man. And then it's like they showed the replay of his face when the Undertaker got the pin. Like, oh man, the guy was awesome. But Undertaker, gets up from that, knocks him out, and then Kane hits the Undertaker with a chair and tombstones him on the chair to get his heat back.
Yeah. Bro, I loved, first of all, this may have been the best build-up of any match in the history of WWE, in my opinion. And, bro, I love up top. I don't know if you caught this or not. The year is 1998. Okay, bro? JR says right up top, this could be the last match The Undertaker ever has. Bro, I popped huge. 1998. I think this was his 7th WrestleMania. This could be the last one. But anyway, bro, Paul Bearer on the outside when freaking Taker's on top. Damn you, Taker. Damn you to hell. I mean, bro, come on. I don't know if you noticed this or not. I noticed it because I just spent a lot of time with him. But Bill Apter was ringside taking pictures. Bro, what happened to the photographers being ringside taking pictures? What happened to that?
I don't know, because like a lot of the times it seemed like it was all like Japanese photographers too. Like a lot of them, like, so like they were sending over. So I wonder, like with the internet now, they don't need to do that stuff. You know what I mean? They just get the digital shots for. I don't know, man. It's interesting because you don't see it anymore.
They probably don't want to go to the show. Bro, something very unique here. You rarely, I don't want to say never, but you rarely saw Paul Bearer get physically involved. Now I understand why, bro. Like, bro, I mean, when he was putting the boots to take bro, come on. That was a rarity, bro. He very, very rarely got physically involved.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And the faces he gives to the crowd, like when they're chanting stuff and he just turns and he gives them the face and he looks around, like, it's great.
God. I miss him so much, bro.
So you can tell with the tombstone on the chair that we're not done with this by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
So then lastly is the WWF Championship match. Mike Tyson comes out first for his ringside enforcer deal. Stone Cold comes out next, and he gets face-to-face with Tyson, and Tyson's jawing at him, and Austin keeps his cool, jaws back a little bit, walks off. We get the DX band again. What'd you think of this DX band, by the way? Who are these guys?
I don't know who they were, bro, but, I mean, it was always a catchy tune, and they play – I mean, it sounded just like, I thought they did a good job. But who are they? I mean, bro, we've never heard of them since, have we?
No, I mean, I don't know. I really don't. They were the DX band. I think that's what they called them. Like, they didn't even have a band name. Yeah. So Michaels comes out. Tyson's outside the ring for his enforcer. We have a regular official. Not too long into the match, Austin's on the outside, and Triple H clubs him from behind and throws him into the barricade. And at this point, the referee throws out both Triple H and Chyna. So we got a straight Austin and Michaels match for the rest of the night with the wonder of what's Tyson going to do. So at the end of the match, the referee gets crunched in the corner, which knocks him out. Michaels goes for the sweet chin music a couple times. I think Austin ducked the first one. The second one, Austin catches his foot. Another moment I'll never forget. It's just always engraved. The 360 spin hits the stunner. I thought that was a real creative finish. These are creative finishes at the time. You know what I mean? Like that. That's just good stuff. So Tyson comes in and he counts the 3. Stone Cold is your new WWF champion for the first time. Austin throws Tyson Austin 316 shirt. Tyson's putting it over, holding it up to the crowd. Michaels, after selling the stunner for a while, he gets up and he's PO'd and he grabs a shirt from Tyson, poking him in the chest, actually swings at him. I loved how Tyson didn't block it. Tyson, you know what I mean? Like a boxer is going to take a punch to the face. It's really not going to phase him that much. So Michaels actually connects, and then Tyson just knocks him out. Michaels sold this thing like $1 million, and then Austin and Tyson celebrate and they walk out together. I love how Michaels sold that punch, man. And it's like, this is the last match Michaels had for 4.5 years. That's it.
Under those circumstances, bro, again, bro, just the pros, pro. I'm going to say something about that at the end of this. Bro, first of all, if you notice up top, the way JR is putting over this match, like this is the most important match that has ever taken place on the planet Earth. Was unbelievable. Sean was in crazy shape. Crazy, unbelievable shape. Bro, who else would do this? Who else would practically get his pants pulled down and continue to work with his ass hanging out, never once thinking about even adjusting his trunks or wanting to adjust his trunks? Nobody, bro, in the world would do that but Shawn Michaels.
Dude, how funny was it, him hitting the ropes with his ass hanging out?
Bro, he was doing it on purpose. Nobody, bro, would do that. Nobody. They would be so self-conscious. It would be the first thing they did.
Dude, except for Ric Flair. Flair did that all the Flair's ass is all over that network.
Yeah, yeah. Bro, what about this? What about this ad lib? Right? There's a point in the match, bro, where the fans start cheering something, and
Holyfield, wasn't it?
They're chanting Holyfield, but the announcers really don't know what they're chanting. They can't make it out, bro. How about this ad lib? So JR says, "What are the fans chanting, King?" Because JR can't make it out. Bro, did you hear what King's answer was? I don't know, JR. I can't make it out because of their stupid Boston accent.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro. Who is capable of thinking that off the top of their head, bro? What about this too? We talk about these are the things that really stick out to me. We talk about like all the freaking spots today and everything like this. What about freaking JR? A chop block! Bro, a chop block. Okay? A chop block mattered. Like, it's just unbelievable. Bro, when we watch these shows back to back, bro, there is nobody in the world, not Vince McMahon, not Triple H, not anybody on this planet that can sit down and watch these shows back to back and not say, oh, okay, that's what we're doing wrong. Nobody. There's nobody on this planet. My daughter could do it, bro. My daughter could tell you, well, this is why people watch that, and this is why they're not watching this now. My daughter could tell you. Yeah, and as I said, bro, this was a fight. They were all fights. Lawler had to tell JR, your blood pressure is sky high, Ross. Listen, bro, I want to say this. Bro, I'll never forget this spot. But, bro, this was when, Shawn had the severe back injury, and, was really playing it up in the back. I mean, really playing it up. Not here, but then he did that kip up. And I remember watching from the back saying, bro, you know what I mean? But then I'll be honest with you, and I still don't know the answer to this. There was a part of me that kicked in and said, when that type of adrenaline is running through your body, you're capable of doing that. So, like, I never, it made me notice, like, how could he physically do that? But then also, like, I do realize when adrenaline kicks in. But, bro, I will say this, like, at the end of the match, he was laid out flat in the back, on his back, practically in tears. I remember his mother and father were there. I remember all that very, very vividly. This was Shawn's last match, for a very long time, which showed you the professional taking the punch, getting laid out cold. Tyson putting the shirt on his face. And I also want to say this, bro. Did it just freaking look like the whole match, like Tyson was just in the way? Like he didn't know where to position himself, bro. He was just like in the freaking way for the entire match. But, bro, I do want to say this. Jeff, I got to briefly see Shawn on Saturday. And, bro, listen, when I'm at these conventions, there was a line out the door waiting to get autographs with Shawn. I have to say hello and move on. I mean, these people paid. I'm not going to take their time, So, like, I didn't, I said hello to him. I really didn't get the opportunity to talk to him. But I'm going to tell you, bro, over the weekend, him and I have gone back and forth texting each other. And I told him I want to call him this week. And he told me he had to shoot his new television show Monday through Wednesday. I told him I want to call him out. I want to call him the end of the week. And, bro, here's the reason why I want to call him. Because it's just something that, like, I have to do. Bro, going through this exercise and watching him perform and watching everything he did and knowing in 94, 95, when the company was on their ass, no matter what they want to tell you on the WWE network, they were on their ass. This guy carried that company on his freaking back. I saw Vince McMahon fall in love with Stone Cold Steve Austin and forget that everything Shawn Michaels did leading up to that point, which triggered Shawn's feelings, which made Shawn feel like he wasn't appreciated. Everything I did for you when your company was down, you kicked me to the curb. That's why Shawn was so bitter at that point in time. And bro, I was there to witness it all, and I totally understand it, and I don't blame him one bit. That's Vince McMahon, bro. If you're the cash cow, he's absolutely in love with you. The minute you're not anymore, he don't give a shit about you. It's that simple. I saw that firsthand. So that's why, to me, when I see Shawn's performance in this match and knowing the backstory and knowing everything and knowing he was hurt and the way he sold the punch, I have to talk to him, bro, because I want to tell him. And you know what, man? It might mean absolutely nothing to him, but I'm here to tell you, bro, two things. Number one, there would have never, ever, 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 ever been an Attitude Era without Shawn Michaels, because quite frankly, he was the attitude in the WWE. He was the attitude before Austin came along. He was the attitude before The Rock came along. He was the attitude before there were DX. Shawn Michaels was attitude. Okay, Shawn Michaels was the only wrestler I ever saw, literally stand up to Vince McMahon and not be afraid to say F you when he felt he was being mistreated. He was the attitude, okay? That's number one. So that whole era would not have happened if it was not for him. And number two, bro, and I'm going to say this because when I go back and I watch this, there is not a doubt in my mind. And I worked with the greatest in the business, bro, from Rock to Austin to Mick to Triple H to Hogan to Flair, and the list goes on and on and on. He was the greatest. Bro, Shawn Michaels was the all-around greatest wrestler of all time. I don't care what anybody says. I love Austin to death. I love Rock. I love all those guys. When I watch this guy, I can now realize and appreciate how great he was, bro. And I need to say that to him. And it might mean absolutely nothing, but I want him to know that somebody that was so close to it, and let's face it, bro, he left after this match. He really wasn't on the gravy train for the height of the Attitude Era. Shawn wasn't there, but the fact is, it would have never segued into that if it wasn't for him. Bro, when the WWE was down and Vince put the belt on him and he was carrying the company, one guy doing everything the company asked him to do, bro, who knows what would have happened if that belt was on somebody else? Who knows what would have happened if it was on somebody that didn't put in the time and didn't make all the shows and didn't give the performance like it was his last one at every single show. You don't know what would have happened with this company, and I guarantee you, bro, nobody has told him this. And listen, bro, Shawn Michaels isn't a guy that lacks confidence. So I'm sure Shawn is very comfortable in his own skin and what he's accomplished. And bro, let's face it, Jeff, 3 weeks ago, he made the WWE heavyweight champion look like an amateur without even trying. And like Shawn knew, like, bro, can you imagine if he really let loose what he would have done to this guy? Like he totally knew. And I know Shawn walked away from that knowing I'm 50 years old, however he is, and you know what? Like, they still can't touch me, and he's absolutely right, bro. They still can't touch him. But it's important to me that I let him know that, and that's why just watching him, the last couple of months on all these shows, bro, there was no better. There was absolutely no better than Shawn Michaels, and I honestly and truly believe that.
We just went through all of our shows doing this up to this point. Was Shawn Michaels setting up this entire company for success from this point on without him? You know what I mean?
That's
and
exactly
what you just said just leads credence to that. I know he came back a few times as the commissioner, but Shawn Michaels, the wrestler, does not come back until the Attitude Era is long gone. So like you said, this was it for him. He wasn't there in the ring, but man, did he just say, here you go, guys, take it and run.
That's it, bro. And nobody points that out. And like I said, bro, I'm sure he knows that. And I'm sure he's completely comfortable with it. But you know what, bro? It's really nice for somebody that was there to tell you, bro, I saw what you did. I know what you did. And none of that would have ever happened without you. And that's an absolute shoot, bro. That is an absolute shoot. Bro, why am I sitting here putting him over? And all I could think about is a couple of years later, the match with Hogan when they played it to the circus music on YouTube.
When he was bumping for the all over the place, yeah.
Bro,
I think that was SummerSlam in 05. Yeah.
Bro, who would ever have the balls to do that? I mean, can you imagine?
Cannot watch that and not laugh. I cannot watch that and not laugh.
Bro, can you imagine one of these, guys today that, that are yes sirring and no sirring in the back, and they're saying exactly what they're being told to say and this, that. Can you imagine one of these guys doing something like that? Oh, I would have given anything to be backstage after that match. I swear, bro, that's one moment in time I really wish I was there just to see, I
feel like now we're like, okay, phase one complete through our process here of the Attitude Era.
I agree, bro. I agree.
Tomorrow night, it's the first night Stone Cold Steve Austin. Well, we're saying tomorrow night, the next night on the show. First night, Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out as the WWF champion. I think it's when they switch the belt out and they go to the new belt and he drops this one on Vince's foot and Vince sells it like it's friggin' hilarious.
I can't even remember.
It's hilarious. But that's what happens the next night. We got Sean Waltman shooting on Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan. Head to head with Nitro on the next show. The new DX is formed. Triple H steps to the forefront, and I feel like we're starting phase 2 next week on this show when we do that Raw, which is March 30th, 1998.
Yeah, absolutely.